Listen, let the floating world of Yoru No Hana unfold around you. Lantern light trembles on wet cobblestones. Rain has passed, leaving the wooden shutters dark with moisture. Somewhere, a shamisen note drifts in the dawn air, low, soft, and lingering. A narrow canal glides through the heart of the district, its waters black as ink before sunrise. Cypress bridges curve over the current, old planks worn smooth by countless footsteps. The scent of cedar wood mingles with drifting plum blossom petals. Paper lanterns, hung from eaves and shop fronts, sway gently, their rice paper glowing faintly in the pale light. This is Yoru No Hana, the flowers of the night. A floating world of tea houses, hidden gardens, and whispered secrets. A world where lives cross, like brushstrokes on silk, fleeting yet unforgettable. And tonight, walk beside Yuna, a courtesan of the Moon Willow Teahouse. Listen to her thoughts, her quiet rituals, and the soft paths she walks through the night. Breathe softly, and let us begin. Morning breaks gently in the Moon Willow Teahouse. Pale light creeps across the tatami, turning golden as it touches silk cushions and polished wood. Yuna stirs on her futon, hair spilling across the pillow like black ink on white rice paper. She blinks slowly, breathes in the faint scent of incense still lingering from last night. Outside her room, quiet sounds drift in. A kettle's soft hiss, the brush of cloth as maids prepare the house, the distant knock of a wooden mallet. She kneels beside a low lacquered basin, lifts a bamboo ladle, pours water into her palms, its coolness waking her gently. She smooths a wooden comb through her hair. Each slow stroke releases a faint creak and a quiet sigh of silk against wood. The room brightens as the sun rises higher. Patterns of lattice and paper ripple across the floor, shifting with every passing cloud. The sliding door opens softly. Alba, the keeper of the Moon Willow, enters. Lines of time mark her face, yet her gaze is kind and steady. "Yuna," she says, voice low as warm tea. "Tonight may be busy. Rest your voice if you can." Yuna bows her head, murmuring thanks. Alba gently adjusts the collar of Yuna's underrobe, her hands sure and careful. They share a moment of quiet, a bond older than words. Yuna turns to her kimono chest. She lifts out a robe of pale gray silk, cranes embroidered in white thread, wings outstretched as though caught in flight. She runs her fingers over the fabric, feeling each stitch, each tiny mountain, each tiny valley. Layer by layer she dresses, underrobe, then kimono, then obi sash, tightening and smoothing until everything lies perfectly. A breath in, a breath out, and the day begins. Later that morning, Yuna steps through a narrow gate into the hidden plum garden. Behind the tea house walls, this garden feels like another world. Ancient plum trees twist and lean, their blossoms white and pink against dark bark. Petals fall slowly, drifting onto moss-covered stones. A bamboo water spout tilts forward, spilling water into a stone basin. It strikes the rock, then lifts to fill again. A rhythm older than memory. Yuna kneels by the basin, brush and ink at her side. She grinds the ink stick slowly, water darkening under her hand, scent of pine resin rising. On a fresh sheet of rice paper, she writes. Petals fall silently, like wishes unsaid, under moonlight. She pauses, brush poised, watching the ink dry. Through the branches, she sees Masaru, the ronin who tends the garden. Broad shoulders beneath a simple robe, his movements quiet and deliberate. He prunes a branch, lifts his gaze briefly, and nods to her. She nods back, no words passing between them, only a silent understanding. Among the fallen petals lies a paper crane, delicate wings folded with care. Yuna lifts it gently. Aoi must have left it here, the dancer who hides behind her silver mask. Yuna wonders what sorrow Aoi carries, what secret folded into each crease. The breeze stirs, carrying scents of damp earth and plum blossom. Petals swirl across the garden, and Yuna closes her eyes, breathing in the peace. Returning to her room, Yuna notices something tucked beneath her pillow. A folded cloth, soft and thin. She opens it slowly. Inside lies a small sketch on rough paper, her face drawn in quick, graceful strokes. Eyes lowered, lips parted as though about to speak. She sees Kaito. The young artist drifts through Yoru No Hana, sketchbook always in hand. He watches quietly. A falling petal, a hidden smile. She remembers the night he must have drawn this. Lantern light catching her profile. A hush of voices beyond the screen. The brush of his gaze, warm and careful. For a moment, fear prickles her heart. If Abba, or worse, a patron saw this. But she presses the paper gently to her chest. Kaito's lines see her not as a courtesan, but simply as Yuna. She folds the sketch carefully, sliding it inside her sleeve, close to her heart. Its presence comforts her, a silent promise that someone sees beyond the painted mask. Outside, the day drifts onward, laughter rising from the street, the clink of cups at a nearby tea house. But for now, in her quiet room, Yuna holds this secret gift and breathes a little easier. As daylight fades, the tea house glows with lantern light. Amber pools ripple across the floors. Shadows deepen in the corners. Yuna kneels before her small mirror, setting out her powders and pins. She dips her fingers into fine white rice powder, brushing it gently over her face. Each stroke cool, soft, and patient. A thin line of black ink along her eyelids, steady as calligraphy. Lips tinted red like plum blossom petals. Her hair, long as midnight, is swept up and pinned with tortoiseshell combs. Silver ornaments tremble lightly, catching candlelight in tiny flashes. She breathes, steadying her hands. Her heart beats faster, the familiar flutter before each night's work. She lifts her shamisen across her knees, tuning each string slowly. The notes resonate, warm wood humming under her touch. For a moment, she closes her eyes and remembers Kaito's voice. "Will you play your shamisen for me one night?" She lets a single note fall, quiet and clear. Then rises, smoothing her sleeves, and prepares to step into the floating world once more. Night deepens over Yoru No Hana. The sky, washed in ink and cloud, carries a faint scent of rain yet to come. After her guests depart, Yuna steps out into the street. Her wooden sandals tap gently on wet stone. The lantern she carries casts a small circle of gold ahead of her. She crosses Hinoki-bashi, the bridge of cypress, its rails worn smooth by years of passing feet. Below, the canal glides dark and silent. Ripples catch glimmers of lantern light, then break them into trembling fragments. Halfway across, she sees him. Kaito, standing with brush in hand, a paper pinned to his board. A small lantern flickers by his feet, throwing shadows across his face. For a moment, they watch each other. Then softly, almost afraid to break the silence, he says, "Yuna, will you play your shamisen for me one night?" She opens her mouth. Words rise, catch on breath, and she nods. Just once. Enough. He smiles, faint and grateful. She walks on, heart beating faster. At the far end of the bridge, she glimpses Masaru, a silent ronin, standing still among drifting mist. Though they never speak, his presence feels like a promise of safety. Beyond, from the masked theater, the muffled beat of drums drifts on the night air. Somewhere within, Aoi dances, silver mask hiding sorrow the world must never see. The floating world moves around them all, yet for a breath they share this moment, suspended above dark water. Back in her room, Yuna's hands are tired. She unpins her hair, combs sliding free with soft clinks. Dark strands fall over her shoulders, brushing her skin like silk threads. She kneels, brush and ink before her, and writes in her hidden journal. Petals on water. We meet, drift apart, and meet again. Stories carried onward by the current, yet never lost. She pauses. Tip of the brush resting above the paper. A faint breeze slips through the screen. Rain begins to fall outside. Slow, steady drops tapping on wooden eaves. She lifts her shamisen once more, plays a single gentle phrase. The note hums, then fades into the hush of night. Breathing slows. Lantern light softens. Thoughts drift like petals on dark water. Now, let your eyes grow heavy. Remember the scent of plum blossoms, the warmth of lantern light on wet stone, the hush of silk sleeves in shadowed hallways. Remember Yuna, her music lingering even when her voice is still. Kaito, sketching quietly under the bridge's curve. Aoi, dancing behind her silver mask. Masaru, watching unseen, steady as an old pine. All drifting in the floating world of Yoru No Hana, where lives cross and part its stories remain. Sleep now, and may your dreams be gentle as falling plum petals on still water. Good night.